I'm going to talk about attachment. There's basically, according to Shantideva, who wrote the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, two kinds of attachment. The easy one to deal with is non-attachment to defiled dharmas. And of course, for a Buddhist monk or a sannyasin, even a sadhu or Christian priest or so forth, non-attachment to sexual desire, intoxicants, drugs, greed for things, material wealth, not sharing, and so forth. Greed for fame, recognition, wanting people to know every little thing you do. These are called, basically in Buddhism, attachment to defiled dharmas. And I say they're the easy ones because they're the most easy to recognize. We all see them in ourselves. And we know how to deal with them. We can recognize it. We can recognize it if we're craving something that we don't really need, or attaching to something we don't really need, or some image we're attaching to. These are all kind of defiled dharmas, and the first step is getting rid of those. But Shantideva points out that the real headache and the real difficulty is non-attachment to dharmas undefiled. In other words, non-attachment to sublime dharmas. So this gets really tricky because the same things that we use to overcome our attachments, greed, anger, stupidity, craving, and so forth, the same practices that we do to overcome those, it becomes themselves attachment to pure dharmas, so undefiled dharmas, because there's nothing defiled about meditation, performing rituals, practicing generosity, and so forth. So that's the real nut to crack in Buddhist practice or Hindu practice, and many, of course, Christian mystics, Thomas Merton and so forth, they recognize it too, and in other traditions, Jewish and so forth. The undefiled dharmas are when we have to recognize when we're attaching to our image as a yogi, a meditator. Even attachment to poverty can be a problem. You know, I've met sadhus, naked ascetics that were very advanced in their practice. They told me that that's one of their biggest attachments, their own poverty, their own wandering as a naked ascetic. And these are very accomplished beings, but it's been pointed out to me by them on occasion that it becomes an attachment, the image of themselves as a great yogi becomes an attachment for them. So when we practice the Dharma and we purify our karma, we don't want to attach to our own purity and become dismissive of anyone else that we view as impure, because this is a real hindrance when we use our own purity to set ourselves apart from others. It's very, very subtle, and it's very, very difficult to overcome. And this person here has been working on it his whole life, and I can tell you from experience, it's really difficult. It's almost ingrained to try and be somebody, but nobody is really special. That's where it's at. And having no mark of self in one's practice. So that's what Shantideva means when he says, first we get rid of attachment to dharmas, defiled dharmas. Next we remove attachment to undefiled dharmas.